Hello, and welcome to another version of It's Tea Time with myself, Neville Gaunt, and my very good friend, Tony Westwood.
Hello, Neville. How are you today?
Really good, Tony, really good. A little drowsy after yesterday's events because we've had yet another pinnacle tournament on the golf calendar, the USPGA. What a finish, what an amazing finish it was. But it really does epitomise the game of golf at the very, very highest level. And what we saw, I think, was focus on the shot that's in front of you and forget the history. Because that's really what golf's all about, isn't it? Taking a shot one at a time.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, the story of the weekend or the 4 days of the tournament was Michael Block, the club pro from California. He's played in several other events and not made the cuts. He's there this weekend playing at Oak Hill, which is massively changed from when they played the Ryder Cup there many years ago.
Yes, it is.
And he went and enjoyed every single moment. You know, it isn't what he normally does. He charges $150 an hour for his golf lesson.
Yeah, exactly. now, now he's paying for the privilege.
A week off work, he still loves playing golf. He's 46 years old, and he's there playing in the event. He makes the cut. He shoots 2 rounds of 70 to make the cut with a whole host of top class golfers, world class golfers behind him. He plays. He plays with Justin Rose in the third round, and he says, "I'm a big fan of Justin Rose. He says, I've watched him for years." He says, "I couldn't look at him for the first 3 holes because I just wanted to go and hug him." And he says, "I can't do that at the start of the third round." And then he caps it all by playing with Rory in the final round, and he has a slam dunk hole in one on the 15th. I mean, wow, what
Yeah.
a story!
Yeah, what a memory. What a memory. His grandkids are going to enjoy that for the rest of his life.
Well, I just read something this morning, and he's won I don't know, somewhere around about $300,000, and they put that into relativity by saying that's 1,920 lessons that he doesn't have to do. He's got an invite to Colonial next week, so I watched a clip of that. He's playing at Colonial next week, and no doubt there'll be other invites along the way. So, what an amazing story!
It is a fantastic story, and again, he's just a golf pro. He's just a resident pro in probably a very good course, but he's just a resident pro, earning $150 an hour when his book's full. Because as we know, a lot of these coaches, you know yourself, your diary isn't full from 9 till 5. In fact, if it was full from 9 to 5, you'd be absolutely knackered. you'd be looking a lot older than you currently are. So well done for not filling the book. But we've seen a couple of people on LinkedIn that have reflected on the Koepka win, because it was a fantastic win. He went into the tournament one of the favourites, sort of. But he actually kept his nerve, literally, especially on the back nine. Having missed a simple putt on the first hole, he could have easily taken that miss onto the second hole. And what happened?
Yeah.
He birdied the second. So let's talk a little bit about baggage, because you and I constantly go in this world of behavioural waste, and the rucksacks, and how quickly we fill the rucksack up and it gets so heavy. Now, you and I know what we're talking about, but why don't you explain it to golfers?
Yeah, I mean, I was doing a coaching session a few weeks ago to a few of our lady members at the golf club, and I'd got down to the golf range. I had my rucksack on the back, and you can see them. They want to improve. There's no doubt about that, and they're really understanding what it is they need to do. But like any golfer, and this accounts for the best golfers in the world, and the average golfer, or even the new golfer as well. And I explain it that you start your round of golf, your whatever it is you're doing, and you've got your your metaphorical rucksack on your bag. And every time you have a poor experience, you drop a rock in the rucksack. And if you have several poor experiences, one after the other, then that rucksack, every time you drop a rock on it, it kind of gets heavier, and you have to carry it around the golf course. And eventually, that rucksack is so heavy that with all that emotional baggage, you then cease to function in the way you know you can function. And at that point, when I explained about the rucksack, and they're all listening and they're really, really getting it, they're really, really understanding it, I just took my rucksack off and put it down at the ground. I said, you know, the important thing is, it's not a case of not putting any rocks in your rucksack, is don't take your rucksack to the course with you. Leave it at home. You don't need to bring it. Begin to understand a different way to play the game that helps you understand what just happened and then how you need to move forwards. So we start to close that gap between perception and reality, so people focus on what it is they're doing now to the best of their ability, and then just do it. See what happens, assess it in the right way, which we know we've developed within the MindFit process, the MindFit golf process, and then move on to the next shot, giving that next shot the best opportunity to the best shot you can actually produce. For me, it's a much simpler way of playing the game. I wish I'd have known this 30 years ago when I was competing full time, because I know the enjoyment I get out of playing the game now is massively different to the enjoyment I used to get out of playing the game when I was doing it, 6-7 days a week playing in tournaments.
Exactly, and I think the key thing here is, as we've say in golf, the shot you need to concentrate on is the one that's in front of you. How many pundits keep saying that? They all say it. Even the top golfers say it. All the coaches around the world will say it. But the key thing is, you've got to do it.
Yeah.
And I have a little mechanism that I say is, you're going to make a bad shot. It's the law of averages. You're going to make a bad shot, but as you said, assess it, get the most out of it, and then package it up. And I say, and throw it into the rucksack that you've left in the changing room. So that you need to go back to it and really learn from it. And guess what? All the pro golfers do that because they go to the driving range and the practice area after the round. They don't go to the clubhouse, have a shower, cup of coffee or a beer and clear off home. They go back to the driving range, to the practice area, because this is their job. This is what they do. This is 100% of their life. And as you said, if you'd have known this 30 odd years ago, I'm sure it would have made your life a lot easier.
Definitely. I mean, I think the interesting thing is that when you look at we know when our kids' book, we created it with the notion of the flavour of like a Dr. Seuss, with rhyme, and the really top golfers realise how close they are. We've listened to Tiger Woods for years talking in press conference after press conference saying, "I'm getting really close. I'm almost where I need to be." Now that's a much better message to be giving himself unconsciously than, "Well, I'm miles off. I really need to go and do a lot more work on my game because I don't know what's going to happen." He would tell himself that he's getting closer. Now, whether that was right or not is irrelevant. The point is that was the message he was giving himself. And as we know from the first verse of our children's book, the game of golf is really quite simple. It can all be explained by the size of a dimple. So when our golfers, or you golfers out there, are missing the fairways, hitting it out of bounds, going in the water, or hitting that golf ball straight down the middle, you're not a million miles away from where you need to be. But it's how you perceive what happens that determines what happens next. And until you understand you're getting closer to where you need to be, then as far as I'm concerned, we're concerned, you'll always be miles away. And it's really bringing it down to realise that it's small scale we're working on, it's millimeters we're working on. And if we can deal with those elements, then you can begin to improve. Not because we're so good, but because you've got the ability right here, right now to be able to do it.
Yeah, that's the key thing. I mean, everyone's got the ability. It's just a matter of the right practice and it being focused. And just going back, to wrap up this little It's Tea Time session, this rucksack approach that we often say is it's easy actually to take the rucksack off. Leave it in the changing room. Leave it at home. Doesn't matter where you leave it. And every time something doesn't go quite wrong, or actually when it goes really right, because those are the times that you need to throw into the rucksack and feel good and reflect on that element of success. Because let's face it, when you're having a bad day, it's a bad day. We've all been there, and even if you can do what Tony and I are saying, that it just happens, you got outside you got wrong side of the bed, or you're just not quite there. We've all been there, and the thing is, again, learn from it. We can learn from our failures just as much as we can learn from our successes. So package it up and literally lob it back into the kit bag. I mean, I say keep it in the changing room because people struggle leaving it at home. Frankly, they'll bring it to the course. So leave it in the changing room and just throw it in there and look at it later.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I summed it up well earlier, Neville. And if we add the next bit in, it says you concentrate on the next shot. Now, I say to my students when I'm working with them, after they've maybe hit a few shots that aren't exactly what they want, I say, you know what? This next shot here could be the best shot you've ever hit. Be it a new golfer, be it an established golfer. But this next shot could be the best shot you've ever hit in your life. That's exciting, isn't it? But who needs to show up to hit that best shot? The golfer with all the baggage, or the golfer with no baggage, with the expectancy, with the being in the right frame of mind, the right focus, the right level of commitment, the right trust to be able to stand there and let go and just swing the club and hit the golf ball. And let's see what happens. Now, it may not be the best shot you've ever hit, but we now can work out what part of the ball you hit, what angle was the club face and what was the contact like, and then the next shot could be the best shot you ever hit. Now, it's an exciting way to play the game of golf, because every shot could be the best shot you've ever hit. Because once you've hit one well, maybe I could hit the next one a bit better. And then we begin to play the game very, very differently. And a round of golf takes on a completely different shape, because there's a level of excitement about what we're doing rather than what is for the average golfer 4 hours of punishment in many cases.
Yeah, exactly. But it's this thought of, well, that wasn't the best shot I've done. I know I can do better. Yeah. And it's just that simple switch, that can-do switch, literally. Because if you say, oh, that was a bad shot, well, I played so many of those in the past, and immediately you start thinking like that, you have brought your rucksack onto the course. Yeah. And you've just added not just one more rock, but you've brought all the rocks that you've put in there to fruition, and you've added a huge rock on top of it. And boy, does that weigh heavily. Yeah. So the message today is simply, the game of golf is about playing one shot at a time. Which shot? The one that you're about to play. It's as simple as that. Every pundit says it, every coach will tell you, but the key thing is you've got to do it. Our suggestion is, yes, you're going to make a bad shot. Stick it in the rucksack that you left in the car, in the clubhouse, or as Tony says, you left at home, because you don't want to bring it around the courses. It's too damn heavy. So on that simple note, go and have a look at the PGA, just have a look at the highlights, particularly, this amateur, because he was classified as an amateur, because he's not a professional. So it's as simple as that, and now he's been invited to yet another round of golf next week, which I'm sure he's really looking forward to. So it's in us all, you know, let's have some fun. Let's get the best out of our game and look forward to playing golf. So on that note, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me. Have a great day wherever you are.
Absolutely. Bye all.